He tore apart my hard work, my dignity, like it was nothing more than a worthless piece of cloth. He said my hands were filled with dirt, not talent, but he had no idea that one day fate would bring him back to that same dirt, where he would need the very skill he once insulted. My name is Sara. My world was very small. It revolved around an old sewing machine that had been passed down to me by my mother. The rhythmic sound of that machine was the music of my life. We lived in a small mud house in one corner of the village. After my father passed away, all the responsibilities of the house fell on my mother. But she had been ill for a long time, so the family depended on me. There were 3 of us in the house: my sick mother, my younger sister Fatima, and me. Fatima was very intelligent. She had big dreams in her eyes, and I had taken the responsibility of fulfilling those dreams on my shoulders. I stitched clothes, but I wasn't just a simple tailor. For me, every piece of cloth was like a canvas, and the needle and thread were my colors. My embroidery was famous throughout the village. People used to say, "Sarah's hands have magic. She doesn't just create flowers, she creates entire gardens with threads." I spent hours bent over cloth, making delicate patterns. The needle pricked my fingers many times, and sometimes blood came out. But it never bothered me, because every stitch felt like peace to my heart. It felt like I was stitching my sorrows, my hopes, and my dreams into those threads. The little money I earned kept our stove burning. It bought medicines for my mother and books for Fatima. I always thanked Allah for that. But very close to our small, peaceful world was another world, the world of Chowdhury Hidayat's mansion. He was the richest landlord in the village. His wealth and power were famous. But even more famous than him was his only son, Idrees. Idrees had everything: money, power, a handsome face. But perhaps Allah forgot to teach him gratitude. He was full of arrogance, and arrogance had filled his heart. His city friends often came to the mansion. They held parties and gatherings where people like us, the poor, were mocked and ridiculed. For Idrees, we were nothing more than insects crawling on the ground. Whenever his expensive car passed through the narrow village streets, dust would rise and cover our faces, and he would laugh loudly as he drove away. I always tried to stay away from Idrees, but fate had something else planned. One day, his sister's wedding was announced. The whole village was celebrating. Then something unexpected happened. One afternoon, Chowdhury's wife came to our house. My mother and I were nervous seeing her at our door. "Sara," she said, "I've heard your hands are very talented. I want you to prepare my daughter's wedding dress, a dress that no one has ever seen before." My heart filled with happiness. This wasn't just a job, it was an opportunity. She offered me more money than I could earn in an entire year. With that money, I could treat my mother in a big city hospital, pay Fatima's college admission. I immediately agreed. For the next month, I worked day and night. Under the dim light of a lantern, I embroidered golden and silver threads onto the silk cloth. My fingers bled many times, but I didn't care, because I felt like I was stitching my hopes and my sister's future into that dress. Finally, after a month, the dress was finished. It wasn't just a dress, it was a masterpiece. Tears of happiness filled my eyes when I saw it. I thanked Allah and took it to the mansion. The mansion was full of wedding celebrations. Chowdhury's wife asked me to wait in the veranda near Idrees's room. I stood there holding the dress, dreaming about better days. Then suddenly, Idrees came out laughing with his city friends. His eyes fell on me and the dress. "What is this?" he asked angrily. I replied respectfully, "It is your sister's wedding dress." He snatched the dress from my hands and opened it. His friends looked at it mockingly. "Oh, so this is the masterpiece," one of them said sarcastically. "It looks so local." Idrees's face turned red with anger. "Local? This is not local, this is filthy," he shouted. "My sister will wear a dress made by a poor tailor like you?" He looked at the dress with disgust. "It smells like dirt, like your filthy hands." Before I could say anything, he grabbed the dress with both hands and tore it apart. The sound of tearing cloth echoed, and with that sound, my heart my dreams, my hopes, everything shattered. He threw the torn dress on the ground and crushed it under his expensive shoes. "This is its worth, and this is your worth," he said. "Get out of here." I stood there like stone. My eyes were fixed on the torn dress lying in the dust, the dress that carried my blood and my dreams. His friends were laughing. I don't even remember how I returned home. That night, I cried beside my sewing machine until my tears dried. Looking at the sky, I whispered, "Ya Allah, you saw everything. He didn't just tear cloth. He tore my dignity. Now I leave justice to you." Days passed. Our financial situation became worse. Chaudhry's wife refused to pay me and instead blamed me for ruining the dress. The village spread rumors. I felt completely broken. But my mother held my hand and said, "Sara, Allah is with those who are patient." Those words gave me strength. I started working again, but this time, not for the village, for the city. Fatima helped me upload pictures of my embroidery online. Slowly, people began noticing my work. Soon, a small boutique owner from the city contacted me. She loved my designs and placed an order. I worked with all my heart. She loved the work so much that she made me her regular supplier. Life began changing. Meanwhile, fate was preparing something else. A few weeks after the wedding, Idrees was returning from the city with his friends in his new sports car. They were drunk and driving very fast. Near the village, the car lost control and crashed into a tree. 2 of his friends died instantly. Idrees survived, but his spine was badly injured. Doctors said he would never walk again. The arrogant man who once crushed my work under his feet now had no legs to stand on. He fell into deep depression. Months passed. Then a therapist suggested something unusual. "He needs to work with his hands," the therapist said. "Something creative, like embroidery or sewing." The name that came to everyone's mind was Sara, the same girl whose dignity they had destroyed. Finally, one evening, Chaudhry Hidayat came to my house, not as a powerful landlord, but as a helpless father. With tears in his eyes, he said, "I have come begging you to save my son." I stayed silent. My mother looked at me with gentle eyes. I remembered her words, "Allah loves those who forgive." So I said, "I will teach him, but on one condition. He must come here every day and sit on this floor with the girls he once considered beneath him." Chaudhry agreed. The next day, Idrees arrived in a wheelchair. At first, he was full of anger, but slowly, something changed. Stitch by stitch, his arrogance faded. One day, the needle pricked his finger and a drop of blood fell on the cloth. He looked at it, then at me. Tears filled his eyes. "Sara, forgive me," he said. "I didn't just tear your dress that day, I tore your dreams." That day, his true healing began. Years passed. Our workshop grew. Many poor village girls joined us. Idrees used his wealth to expand the business. Today, we run a successful brand called Hunar. It brings handmade embroidery from village women to big city markets. Idrees is still in a wheelchair, but now he is not helpless. He found a new life through his hands. And I learned something too. Sometimes Allah's justice doesn't come as punishment. Sometimes it comes as guidance. He took Idrees's legs, but gave him a new heart. And that is a greater miracle.